loves being good, and she'll accept playing imposter and try it, but she won't enjoy it. I got 2 kills. Zeffy got sus for both of them and killed. And so I was like, well, I don't know what to do here anymore. So let's just get wild. I walked over to a vent. Jada walked over. Doodle walked over.
Okay.
Shady walked over.
So-
I jumped in and out of the vent 5 times and snapped Doodle's neck. And then Jada was like, huh, I have no idea who it could have been. Like, just,
Quality.
And we just, like, he followed me around while I murdered people. Like, you know, in the same way that he has walked up and killed someone in front of me before, and I've just been like, okay, dance on their grave and walk away.
Yeah, like
Also-
I really want to install the proximity mod.
Oh, we're Jada wants to do that too, so we're definitely gonna look into doing that.
Yeah, I want to figure out how to do that, and so that we can play like that, because I feel like that would produce that's
great content.
that I really want to stream and like turn into YouTube videos. And
Oh,
now that my semester is done, I have so much more time.
Yeah. Also, there was a round where I was an imposter and I had Low with me. Low wasn't an imposter, but I was like protecting him, and I
Okay.
was like, all right, he's gonna get marinated. He's in the sauce. I'm gonna take Low. I'm gonna protect him. I'm gonna take care of him. And so me and Low were alone in Specimen. And then my other imposter buddy walks up, snaps his neck, and walks away. So I report the body and say that my imposter buddy killed him and threw him under the bus. And Low comes into my chat and he's like, I knew you were an imposter. I like kind of figured out that you were an imposter. This is the funniest shit I've seen. And then I ended up winning the game due to some
Okay,
pity,
everything
but-
should be back on live.
All right, are you recording again?
I was going to do my countdown so that on video we also have it.
Yes, please. Big
Countdown
what
in
he's saying,
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
That marks our audio for
Yes.
you to start recording. So
Okay,
Cool.
we're back.
Awesome. sick.
nice.
Okay. So I have
Nothing happened at all.
one more piece of news. This was a piece of news that I found kind of close to my heart. Square announcing Saga Frontier Remastered. I played Saga Frontier. It was one of the very first games that I ever played on PlayStation. So I'm very excited to see it remastered. I think it'll be really great. And it reminds me a lot of Octopath Traveler, or I should say Octopath reminds me a lot of Saga Frontier. And so I'm just excited to see it come back. And Kenji Ito composed the music for the original, and it's back. So it's already good. You just like you could play the game and the gameplay could be trash, but you could put the music on and be happy. So you know,
Do we have a new link for the stream?
I do.
We're gonna need that new link up.
Give me a moment. I had to refresh YouTube Studio to make sure that it gave me a new link.
Mhm.
And I'll go update the
The Patreon post.
yes. I'm gonna just post that in admin for you guys, such that you may see it. I'm pretty sure it's the same link as before, but I could be wrong. It doesn't look like it changed. I'm gonna go to the Patreon post and see that it, links it.
Yeah. Okay. It looks good again on my end.
Okay, so it is not the same link.
Okay. Then let's just DM it to Cherry. I think he's the only person that was.
What I'll do is I'll post
Repost
a
it.
new link.
Mhm.
And what I'll do is I'll go back and I'll edit the post with the link to both parts.
Give me 1 second. All right. And then I actually just remembered one more piece of news that I think is relevant and weird, but also really, really cool.
Okie dokie. Hit me with it.
All right. So Have you guys ever collected Pokemon cards?
Yes.
Now, have you noticed that there has been one card from the original 151 that's been missing?
Are you talking about from the original set or?
For the last 20 years, Pokemon and the Pokemon Company have not been able to print Kadabra on Pokemon cards due to a lawsuit.
Yes, I was aware of this. Oh, this
So-
is so sick to find out.
Yeah, so Uri Geller, an illusionist who was most popular for his bending spoon trick, you know, like Kadabra, and who Kadabra's Japanese name is Young Geller, which sounds a lot like Uri Geller.
Yeah.
And so he, when that originally came out, was kind of like, hey, why did you make a Pokemon? Like, I don't approve of this. This is kind of weird. I don't like this. And sent a cease and desist to Nintendo and the Pokemon Company and said, stop printing Kadabra on Pokemon cards. For the last 17 years, because 2003 was the last set that had Kadabra in it. If you're evolving Pokemon in the Pokemon card game, you literally go straight from Abra to Alakazam. You skip Kadabra. Kadabra cards have been relatively rare and have not been printed. And as of this last week, Uri Geller rescinded his cease and desist and made a post online saying that he deeply regrets what he did 20 years ago. And he wishes for everybody to just be happy again. And he wants them to start making Kadabra cards again, which is feel good. He clearly regrets what he did. And it's very cool of him to say that. So
Squinty eyes.
Uri Geller, you are this week's not a piece of fucking garbage.
I have squinty eyes.
I mean, to be fair, if a Pokemon came out that was called All Tuesdays and looked like you, and you weren't a fan of Pokemon, what would you think?
It's the internet. Again, things were very, very different 20 years ago. Like at this point today, I'm like, they could put my face on a tattoo on somebody's ass, and I could care like you know what I'm saying? Like I couldn't care. But like 20 years ago, it's very, very like, especially since he was a magician running around, like that's where like I'm just looking at the timing and going, oh, look, Pokemon cards got suddenly super duper expensive, and now being able to sign one of those and make its value go up infinitely.
No,
because,
Paul, no. He received multiple emails from Pokemon fans because Pokemon cards have had a resurgence. And he was receiving emails asking for him to rescind the cease and desist. And he looked at it and was like, that's completely reasonable.
That's fair.
He rescinded the cease and desist.
Fair.
It had nothing. He doesn't make any money off of it. Nothing like that. He literally just said they can print the cards again.
Yeah, like, again, not a piece of garbage of the week. Like that was him just.
That's good. I just like every so often some people do stuff like that, and I'm like, that's why I said squinty eyes is like, I needed to know more information.
I read like 5 articles on it because I was really interested in the whole situation.
Because like like there's been sports cards people who before had been like, no, I don't want my and then sports cards like went up in value, and they were all like,
I also want to point out that Kadabra cards from 20 years ago only go for $20.
Yeah,
that's not even fair. No, they have to be mint
condition
over 20.
Yeah,
like
do you
that's
know how much it costs to get that card graded? $200.
Yeah, there you go.
So,
on another note, did you see that the Hollow Dark Charizard that a Twitch streamer pulled out the other day is currently going for over $150,000 on eBay?
yes.
Yes, yeah. The shiny Charizards out of the new set, the Shiny Star V set, are ridiculously expensive. 2 of my housemates spent. I don't want to talk about how much money on the podcast. Importing sets from Japan so that they can open them for their pack opening channel.
That's awesome.
And I was like, yeah, but if you hit that hollow, shiny Charizard V or whatever, your college is paid for. So I guess it's like hit or miss.
It's gambling.
Just hope you don't fucking miss, bro.
Yeah, but hey, I think that covers our news for this week.
I think
so. I think that was quite money, in fact.
Tim, you brought a topic to the table that you want to discuss, right?
Yeah. And this comes with the announcement of the My Hero movie. And I have thoughts on the previous My Hero movie and how it reflects on this third My Hero movie, and it does influence my opinion, I would say significantly in a sense, because there's certain things that I think when I read the original content and the source material, and then they do something like what they did with, let's say, the Overhaul arc in season 4.
Yeah.
After the second movie came out, it felt like the Overhaul arc, which was incredibly hype in the manga, got downplayed a lot.
Yeah.
They made Overhaul look to be like, a B tier villain at best. And I remember reading those chapters going, holy fuck. Like, Overhaul is the scariest villain we have seen yet. And we'd seen All For One at maybe not his best, but definitely a large, ratio above the entire field of heroes, including All Might. Like, Overhaul's ability itself is terrifying. And when you look at, like, Heroes Rising's villain, and then you look at Overhaul, who seems more threatening? Like, realistically, who seems more threatening? Overhaul's villain, or Overhaul, or the Heroes Rising villain? It's the Heroes Rising villain by a large margin.
Yeah.
And for me, that feels really fucking bad that a character that we don't even know if he's canon by Horikoshi's standards of, like, what he wants the manga to be is scarier than his premier villain of an entire arc.
Well, so here's honestly my issue with the movies. For some reason, anime movies like to walk this very thin line between canon and not canon. They like to create an entire movie that's in between arcs and then say it doesn't affect anything, but it's canon, but it's irrelevant. And I feel like the only way for an anime movie to actually be good, if it's from an existing IP such as My Hero or Demon Slayer, is for them to either full send and say, this is canon, this is relevant, this happens, or to say, this is Elseworlds. And I brought up the argument in my Discord this past week after this movie was announced, where I said, if My Hero just decided that these movies were Elseworlds, they could play with them a lot more, they could go a lot further, and they could do a lot more fun stuff. And at the end of the day, I wouldn't have any issues with it. Because, for example, the most recent movie, Two Heroes.
Or no, that was Heroes. Heroes Rising was the new.
Heroes Rising's new one. Two Heroes was the first
Heroes
one.
Rising.
Yeah.
Because Two Heroes was about All Might and his sidekick, and this one.
Okay, so Heroes Rising. At the end of Heroes Rising, they make this huge point and this huge decision that has a large impact on all of the characters involved. And then immediately after the final fight ends, they backpedal it and pretend it never happened. And it, in my opinion, it doesn't feel good in the way that they do it, because they're like, oh, well, nothing happened, back to normal. And if they had committed to that and made that change, like, would it have affected the landscape drastically? Yes, but it also would have made for much more interesting stories going on with that storyline in particular.
So and this comes from somebody who just burned through the manga, and I'm pretty sure Tim's having some similar thoughts that I am. I don't think I am. Fundamentally different?
Okay.
So, like, I just think they've set it up
out long enough that, like, I want to talk about this and not have to hold the spoiler tag over my mouth.
Because, like,
if you have not seen Heroes Rising yet, when we go through to edit this, we'll give you a point to skip to. But I'm going to say this now, and I'm not going to give a shit. Spoiler starts now. Heroes Rising shows Izuku go, I'm going to make a decision that I know will hurt me in the long run because I'm going to give Bakugo all for one.
Yes.
Or one for all. I'm going to give him one for all because it's the only way we can win this fight.
Yep.
I am going to give up my quirk. And all of the hard work that I put in thus far at UA and to learn to master this quirk, I'm going to give up my position as successor of One for All to make sure that we survive this. And then they fucking walk it back.
Yes, that's
So bad. And the thing is if you think about the overhaul arc, which this comes before.
Yeah. See, that's my problem.
The overhaul arc and everything following it is extremely different if Izuku is not the successor of One for All, and it's now Bakugo. Because, I'm sorry, that's what would have happened.
See,
like, Horikoshi played with the idea when he talked about Izuku giving it to Lemillion. Because Izuku was like, you're a better hero than I am.
Yeah.
Like, you are the strongest hero behind All Might. And this is before we saw the Endeavor section at the end of season 4. It was like, that was Izuku's way of trying to go, I know that there are others that deserve this as much as I do. And he deemed that Bakugo that during Heroes Rising, and they walk it back with Bakugo having amnesia, Izuku getting his powers back, and everyone pretending like it's goddamn fine.
And honestly, if what they had done at the end of that movie was continued on that line, Midoriya slowly loses his powers and teaches Bakugo how to use them properly, they could have made an incredible storyline going forward in an Elseworlds. But for some reason, they decided to say this has to also be canon. It's not relevant to the main story in any way, but it has to also be canon.
So, my main problem, and Tim, this is like coming from somebody who like just burned through manga, right? Like
I know.
I keep saying that to make sure everybody knows this is from that place, not in the middle of it. I feel like if they end up, they would. The only problem I have a part with is the actual amnesia. Because it feels like they tried to force Bakugo's character too hard there. And if they had said this was canon and they didn't force the amnesia, and then you know what you know about One for All later in the manga, like everything's fine. Everything makes sense. Everything is Gucci. Like, and I'm not spoiling anything super crazy because I don't want but there is a point about it that makes sense and works within the way he's actually written One for All. The problem is they tried to revert Bakugo, and they tried to like make it like Bakugo would be so jealous and all these other things, and being like, no, like Bakugo just be like, shit, I have a long way to go, fuck everybody else, and like he'd work his fucking ass off like he already does. Like, there would be no fundamental character change, so they could have left it there. They could have done exactly what they did, as long as they didn't try and play this weird amnesia, it's not canon card, right? And so that's my problem. My problem is not the ability to take that and full send it on an Elseworld. I'd love to see that full send it on an Elseworld. But I also think at the same time they could have kept it canon by changing a fundamental detail.
But so do you see the issue with
yes.
They can't keep it canon because if they're doing this thing where they don't want it to be a canon movie. They don't want to require people to go see the movie to continue watching the show.
Yes.
Which I get it. And that's fine. But in doing so, every time they make a movie, at the end of it, they have to revert all the way to the very beginning.
Yes.
And so all of the decisions that are made, there's nothing of consequence gained or lost. Nothing of value actually happens. And at the end of the day, it doesn't feel good as a watcher to go in, see this, and then at the end you're like, oh my God, that happened. And then the movie's like, ha, but it didn't. And
yes.
We're all going to pretend that it didn't. And you're right. Like if they had left out Bakugo's amnesia and then used that as like a catalyst for him in the next arc, they don't even need to really reference it in the next arc. They just need it because it would be an adjustment to his character, but not something so drastic that it's required to go watch the movie. But for some reason, they don't want to commit to anything.
So
And
the other side of this is I think that we have this weird trope of anime movies only coming out after it's most of the way through and only just became relevant. Like the reason Demon Slayer got to get on that train was because they were just like, screw it, we're not even going to do like an anime section. We're going to do a movie, right? Like,
Yeah.
that's how you get out of that. The problem is like if they tried to do an anime movie for an in-between arc, they're already like, we're finishing the manga in like 2 weeks. Like, there's nothing we can change. So like either it has,
he has opinions,
you know, and so
And-
go ahead, Tim.
Yeah, the Demon Slayer and okay, so if you guys haven't figured out what the topic is yet, anime films, are they a good thing for the industry and are they a good thing for their IP? And I wanted to start out by breaking down the issues they can cause for an IP. And if you haven't haven't figured that out, that's where we are right now. Demon Slayer for me, and everyone's gonna go, well, Tim's a Demon Slayer stan, of course he's gonna suck, Gotoge's dick. And about this, I'm like, no. The reason I'm okay with this movie, and trust me, I fucking hate that they turned the train arc into a movie. I really do. Because one, it makes it very hard for people who are anime only to continue with the series when an important arc,
Really important.
like incredibly important, like this movie contains some of the driving forces for Tanjiro later on. Like, if you don't see this movie, you're missing out on a lot of content. And for me, that I think is very bad for the IP.
Mhm.
Yep.
But because it's a very short arc. The train arc is only like, Paul, and I'm pretty sure this is right, like 25 chapters.
It's like 20,
Oh, wow.
25. Yeah.
So
It's condensed. It is very condensed.
it's a very small, fast-paced arc, which I'm fine with it being a movie, because otherwise it was going to be 2.5, maybe 3 episodes tops in a 24-episode season, and people were still going to be pissed that that arc felt like,
Like, for
it was a
example,
goddamn push,
It-
like they just threw it away, because the arc itself has pacing issues.
for example, right? If they did God of High School as a 12-episode season, and then that second half of that they turned into a movie, or like vice versa, right? Like pick one, like, because we all know how that goes, but you can pick a 12-episode section of that arc that they tried to condense down into those 3-4 episodes and make it a full 2-hour movie, and people would have been infinitely happier because you get all the animation, you get all the beautiful fights, you get the whole story of that entire arc, which actually is pretty dope because all of those fights were really interesting, like chess matches, you know, instead of 2 episodes for the Taek Jagal bullshit.
Yeah, like
Like-
that. The Taika Golf fight, for me, would have been okay as a movie
Yes.
because of the fact that it's like 30 or 40 chapters in the webtoon. And so you sit there and you're like, okay, I get this. Like, it's not quite long enough to be like a 4 or 5 episode stint, but it's not quite enough to be like a 2 episode 3. It's like too much to be a 2 episode 3 episode like condense.
Yep.
It doesn't feel like it has quite enough content to be a 5-6 episode, too much for a 2-3, and 4 is like a very awkward, like in a 12 episode season, feels like it's just too much to devote to one thing.
Yep.
So that as a movie would have been fine to me. And that's why I guess like I am more okay with like Infinity Train existing as a movie than I am like the My Hero movies. Because
so
again, the My Hero movies would be fine if they were just, hey, by the way, this is an Elseworld. Not that it's like, it's a little bit canon, but it's like mostly not canon.
Well, like,
but,
so real quick,
just a little bit.
real quick,
And it's
like,
can you just pick one? Don't be wishy-washy, just pick one. It's better for the IP that way.
Yes.
It's better for the industry that way. You're still going to make a stupid amount of fucking money and still get to publicly like glorify anime as a medium. But you don't fuck over fans and potentially anyone that wants to make any kind of content that cares about that stuff.
so this is what I was gonna say. I think if my like we've said this, if My Hero just connected and said this is it or this is it, we would be great. I think personally, let's just have this discussion, that I would rather them be canon as they are now. As they are now, I'd rather them be canon and fully integrated and just be like, yes, than otherwise. Mm-hmm. Now, granted, sans the Bakugo amnesia, because I just think that's dumb and they did it for the movie's sake, right? But like, he literally came out and was like, this is what I wanted to do as like a concept for the final showdown at the end of the manga. Like, and have that be it. But also, like, I didn't want that to be the end because it felt too, you know, departure from main character. And so that was an interesting discussion that you had in interviews, right? But at the same time, I'd love that to just be like, do it. But at the same time, the way they did it,
they need to just do it. They can't keep like dipping a toe in the water and going, "Ooh, no, it's too cold." It's like, no, you need to just jump in.
But I would also say that like the other part of the problem I think the industry is having is these, like, they're using movies as sounding boards for ideas.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
A la, right? Like, I'm pretty sure both of those movies were soundboards for, okay, like, what would happen if we made an all-for-one dude, but who's not all-for-one, like, the most, important character. And then he was like, okay, so I can use that concept even further in the next movie. And he's testing that for Shigaraki to be like, what would happen? And then Tim, I won't spoil anything, but we've seen some of the fruit of that, right? Like,
I was going to say, like, the manga chapters that we're currently getting, like, I am glad that the movies exist.
Yes.
Because you can definitely see that Horikoshi is taking from his experiences that he's gotten with or helping on these movies, and like seeing how people receive them to help write better chapters. Like the Shigaraki content that we're getting right now.
Hot damn.
It's so good. Like every single chapter feels like he's just popping off.
Yeah. And like, the heroes too. It's not just Shigaraki. Like that's that's where we lean on the heroes rising side. Is we've caught the two heroes side of what he learned, and now we're catching the heroes rising side of what he learned. And like you're watching this unfold where it is in the manga, and you're like, holy fucking shit, this is like balls to the wall, floor pedal to the metal, how as insane as you can get, as we've seen.
But so
with the concepts,
devil's advocate here. Why do they need to make movies about that then?
Exactly.
Why can't they just make one shots like so many people have done historically? And those are significantly more accessible, more people can read them, and more people can give feedback on it than a movie. It also takes significantly less time, budget, and effort. So why are these companies full sending on movies and putting all of this product in for something that at the end of the day, Heroes Rising didn't feel good to watch at the end. I'll be honest. It was amazing for the first 90% of it, and the last 10% made me feel like garbage.
Yeah, and so, like, the thing is we watched, it was myself, you, Paul, and
Slap.
We had Slap. The four of us watched that movie together, and I remember looking at all four, like, at everyone's face during certain sections going, holy shit, this is everything we want.
This is peak My Hero.
This is the peak shonen content right here.
Yep.
And then
at the end, we all groaned.
At the end, didn't we?
Yep.
Where we're like, this felt bad.
Yeah, we had that discussion. Like, we all sat down and was like, this...
Just the end, and it was just nothing else in that movie was a conversation. The rest of it was holy shit. That was insane. That was insane.
But the problem is that, like, if that ending part just ruins the rest,
they triggered it.
Then you don't want to go back and watch the rest of it because the end of it.
But see, and that's kind of like a disagreement of like how I enjoy content though. Is like,
yeah,
I'll rewatch that every other day for like the next 2 weeks if I feel like it, because like the rest of it is what sticks out. Like, I will listen to Might You on repeat, having playbacks of like what happened in that last section going through my head, because that's how good it was. The ending never really presents itself, you know, just because like I'm like, that's the end of the movie, like c'est la vie, you know. The rest of it is what presents itself. And so I think to take this into the realm of other anime movies,
I was just going to go to other anime movies as well.
The Naruto movies. I'll jump to Tim real quick because I know you haven't seen these. Like the 2 or 3 Naruto movies that we got, the first 2 were really bad.
Oh, they were fucking unwatchable.
Naruto the Last, which was the final one they put out, was A, canon, and B, fan freaking tastic for a Naruto like universe. Like you can't necessarily like say it's on the same level as everything else, but like holy shit, the same thing we got when we did we got the Momoshiki versus Sasuke Naruto fight in Boruto the movie. Like we've gotten all these different pieces now that Naruto, after like 7 movies, like failing the first 3 to 4, finally caught their formula and how to do it in world. And then they were like the same thing Dragon Ball did with Resurrection F and that whole series, is they were like, this is the content, and now we're going to build the anime off of it, like because we know exactly what we're taking, why we're taking, how we're taking it, like what the villains are. So like,
can I bring up my argument of why committing to movies can be amazing?
Sure.
Fate. Now,
I mean, I'll even commit to that in reference to Broly, because that was incredible too, but yes.
Broly as a canon anime movie is one of the best movies out there. Changed my mind. But like
yes.
We'll get back to that. So Fate has 4 separate movies that are out right now.
Yes.
Okay. The last of which was actually just came out this past week in the US. So the first one I want to talk about is Fate Grand Order, because the other 3 are all in a bundle. So Fate Grand Order came out, and it was an Elseworld. And it was very clearly an Elseworld. And they said, this is an Elseworld.
Yep.
And it was an interesting movie, and it launched their entire storyline that went with their mobile games. And yeah, mobile game storyline, bullshit, whatever. But they also have built animes off of that, and they're adding more movies to it as well. And the only reason that it's able to do that is because they committed right at the very beginning and said, we're doing this. And everybody looked at it, and they knew what was going on, and they were on board. So
and that's what I want to point out about the Dragon Ball movies, is the flip side of that, which is they did Battle of Gods, then they did Resurrection F, and then they were like, cool, we've cemented our universe, Broly, which is canon, but you're not going to find that anywhere in the manga or in the anime. Like they were like, yeet, we've gotten everything cemented, now we're off to do the fun stuff, and you got Broly, which was balls to the wall action Dragon Ball, like quintessential Dragon Ball.
I
Broly was a movie with Dragon Ball Z so long ago.
Broly and Gogeta were 2 characters.
Yes.
And I treat Gogeta as a character because when you look at him versus Vegito, Goku, and Vegeta,
I want to point out Bardock was canonized with the Broly movie.
This is
That's
true.
one that everybody forgets, but I fucking love Bardock.
Yes,
Bardock
is amazing.
Recanonizing him as Goku's father is really great. I love that. But going through and canonizing these characters that were put in via movie they were like, JK, fuck you, your favorite characters aren't canon, and going back and recreating that content, not necessarily just remaking it, but recreating that content, re-envisioning it, and committing to the ideal that these are characters that are very well loved and people want to see more of them, is not a bad thing. And I think they did the same thing with the Broly movie that they did with Fate Go.
Yes.
They were like, all right, we have this idea and it should do well as long as we explain the circumstances of its existence in the universe. And it did.
Yeah.
And that's not a bad thing.
And they also took at the end of Broly, like they took license to be like, by the way, like this is a thing. Like, and they also made license to like showcase how it was different from the stuff that was not canon. Like
exactly.
Yeah.
And that's
the new Broly movie took all of the best parts of the original Broly movie and expanded on it.
Yep.
They got rid of a lot of the bullshit. Because let's be real, the original Dragon Ball movies were a lot of bullshit.
Yes.
They were. And that's a
And we are entirely okay with that because we are Dragon Ball fans.
Entirely okay with that. Oh, Dragon Ball is a bundle of bullshit. Let's be honest.
Exactly. Like we know what we're getting into. It's the garbage heap that just you enjoy being a dumpster fire.
It's a lot like Domestic Girlfriend.
No.
Dumpster fire that we can't take our eyes away from, no matter how hard we try. Sometimes
Not that big of a dumpster fire. The Saiyaman arc is, but nothing else is. Okay, how dare you?
GT exists and it drives
GT
down
can
the whole...
GT existing needs to. Yeah,
He doesn't exist.
Shit,
There's
you're
no-
right. My bad.
I
Sorry,
didn't say
I saw
anything.
someone create a poster for an entire arc of Dragon Ball that just doesn't exist.
Yeah, it's
And-
really.
It's some
really
great
weird
fan
that
fiction.
It showed up on my Twitter timeline, and that's why I was like, "Oh, GT exists." Just kidding. No, it doesn't.
So that's the thing. Is like
from canon in every single aspect, including by its creators. So we all pretend it doesn't exist.
yes. So the other thing I want to talk about in reference to like these movies is we have these beautiful moments where the writers just get to say like, take everything that you have available to you, canon stuff that we've just shot off into the blue and never finished, animation that we would normally never do, like all of these things, and compress it into like one scene.
All right. Okay. Are you ready? Are you ready? Because you just led into my next point perfectly. The Fate point part 2. Now, there's 3 more movies from Fate. The original Fate Stay Night is famous for having 3 different routes because, it was an erotic novel way back in the day. And so the way one of the different arcs follows the character Sakura. And she's not really relevant in Fate Stay Night or Fate Stay Night Unlimited Blade Works. Fate Stay Night being the Saber arc, Unlimited Blade Works being the Rin arc. And so what they decided to do with this final arc, because they wanted to make it, Fate has been blowing up recently, especially since Ufotable and Type Moon have taken control of it. So they decided we're going to make movies instead for the Heaven's Feel arc. And so Fate Stay Night Heaven's Feel has 3 separate movies that are all the different parts of it. And what they're able to do is take all of the content that they already have from the visual novels, from the light novels, from the manga spin-offs that they have, and they're able to go through, animate it, play with it, and do what they want with a bigger budget and a better play setting.
Right.
And they're able to commit to, this is canon, but it's a different type of canon, which is one of the things that is really hard to do with a lot of shows. Fate is just really lucky that they're able to do it the way that they have.
Yeah.
And so, and one of my arguments with My Hero specifically is somebody told me that it's very easy for Fate to do that because Fate has different routes. And my argument was My Hero is a superhero manga and a superhero anime. And Elseworlds were created by the superhero genre.
Yeah.
So
I just think that like this is the other thing that I want to talk about, which is the industry side of it real quick. Anime movies at current are them making themselves the gateway drug to build out billion-dollar franchises in which they get to do everything that you're talking about. Like
absolutely.
Everything that we're getting right now is the baby steps that get us to Hirokoshi going, oh, wait, you're giving me like $4 million just to do an Elseworld story?
But
Dope.
see, my argument there is sometimes you need to run before you can walk.
I would also agree. I just think that the industry is they're still testing the waters with Demon Slayer doing as well as it is in Japan right now. We're finally seeing that the industry is really ready for that, and like the fandom is there and so on. So I think we're getting there. I think we'll be there within the next 3 to 5 years, just because that's how I think the timeline works. And I'm excited for that.
As much as everybody's mad at Demon Slayer for saying, oh, our next arc's a movie, screw you. I'll be honest, if more shows took those smaller, important arcs and made movies out of them with a higher budget and a better staff, I think that's a great move. Don't get me wrong. I'm still annoyed that I have to go to a movie theater to watch it. I'm still annoyed that I'm probably going to see it 6 months after Japan. I'm still annoyed that it's going to cost me more money and be more effort to get it. But I think it'll be a better end product, and that's worth it.
I was just going to say, can we have the Pain arc redone, please?
Yeah.
Tim sits there and took a moment, was like, flashbacks. It's the dog meme with the that's what I want. Is like I want to take those arcs that are beloved and go, okay, like movie. Like for example, when we got the Momoshiki fight back done in anime is what they wanted to do in the movie, but they didn't do because of flipped timelines and production schedules and whatnot. But like if I could get that in movies every day, all the time, like in these short arcs, if we could have done that for the Pain arc, if we could have done that for if we could have done it for that, like the international tournament arc for God of High School, if we get, heck, I want that to be the workshop competition for Tower of God. Like I want that workshop battle set
would be
to literally be a movie, because like
it'd be a great movie,
dude. Lyra Rose up, like you get the whole main cast going, you get Jewel de Ville de Grace. It's Ville de Grace, right? Just something like that. I don't know. It's something like that. I haven't read it in so long.
That's a name that I can't save.
Like
that's a name that I will continue to butcher.
That's what I want. And so I think if we build that properly, we get to enjoy the whole thing.
Yeah.
We got to have our cake and eat it too.
The end of the day, for me, anime movies are not a bad thing. They're in fact a great thing. I love them. I have a love-hate relationship with them.
100%, because we got Death Note out of it.
I mean,
we've gotten a lot of bad anime movies and a lot of bad live-action anime movies, which tried to bridge the gap, and we talked about that the other week too. But like, I am just glad that we're getting to the point where it's going to be good.
But for me, there's a lot of really great anime movies too.
True.
And there was another one that I wanted to talk about quickly, that hurts me in the same way that Mugen Train is currently.
Yeah.
Where it's like, I wanted to see that arc as an anime. I did. Rascal Does Not Dream of Bunny Girl Senpai, which if you did not see it, you're a fucking idiot. You should go watch that show. It's really good.
It's less stylized Monogatari.
I was getting to the point that it is in fact just Sam's Club Monogatari, but I think some of the character relationships are much better than they are in the Monogatari series.
Short point, just because I make it every single time. Monogatari follows a single character that goes along, and sometimes the characters come with him, but barely ever. Rascal Does Not Dream of Bunny Girl Senpai is a static world with a bunch of characters that stick around.
Yeah, exactly. Which I think.
So, because of that, the interrelationship in Rascal Does Not Dream of Bunny Girl Senpai gets better with certain characters, such as silver-haired waifu.
Sorry, my brain is just.
My brain turned off for a second. It starts with an F.
It's not Futaba.
No, it is. It is. It's Futaba.
I am. Sorry.
You were right. You were right.
When I think Futaba, I also picture the Persona 5 characters, so like that one gets me every time.
Every character named Futaba is a waifu. It's wild.
Yeah.
It's almost like they do that on purpose.
Okay, but back to the point that I was making. The last arc of the light novel, or I want to say one of the last arcs of the light novel, is the Shoko arc. And I was like, yo, the Shoko arc, that's gonna be lit as fuck. We love Shoko. And they fucking robbed us and turned it into a movie, which, by the way, I still have not seen yet, because getting my hands on a copy of it is fucking horrible.
So does that lead to the issue of watching movies as a Western audience?
Yeah, and that I think is a problem for the anime industry that I wanted to get into about anime movies, is that can be... Okay, you know what? We're going to continue this. We're going to take a quick break to hear a word from our sponsors, and then I'm going to rant for about 2 minutes.
Guys, thanks. We'll be right back.
I'm going to eat Taco Bell while I do this.
Yeah. I literally...
I was like, we're like 45 minutes in, and then we also had like a 20-minute section earlier, and I was like, we need our break.
Oh yeah, no, we're like an hour. We're a solid hour in right now.
Yeah.
So yeah, I literally, Paul, I stopped to get out the steaks.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh, I need to go to the bathroom.
Oh, that's fine.
So yeah,
they need to warm up a little before we.
Exactly. They need to warm up a little bit more to room temperature so we don't shock them when we cook them.
Yes.
There are 4 of them though, and we're only gonna make 2. So
I'm okay with that.
that's the plan, because then we can make the other 2 another time.
Yeah. You want to see this great meme?
Sure, drop
Honestly,
it.
if Taco Bell sponsored our podcast, I would just eat more Taco Bell than I,
I
already
can't-
do.
I
Read
can't.
it,
I was hoping it was gonna focus.
Did not.
I'm gonna send it in the chat.
Just drop it. Yeah, in the chat.
Oh,
Nice.
I was just like,
That's a
Scott
good
Pilgrim's
Scott
a good.
Pilgrim
That's a
meme.
good Scott Pilgrim meme, dude. Can we talk about how that? Like, I almost want to talk about that in this next session because it's like a manga anime movie that like became a cult classic for like making it itself. And it doesn't hurt that Edgar Wright did it because Edgar Wright's incredible in what he does in general. But like,
Oh, we need to make garlic bread now.
Luna was like,
All-
I'm gonna
all
squeeze the
the
toy and
Scott-
agree.
The Scott Pilgrim movie only just makes me want to eat garlic bread. That's it. Like, it is the best food.
It's just so much like that movie is just so good.
It's a great movie. It is
7
absolutely
Evil X's!
fantastic.
I mean, can we also talk about it? Like, it includes every single person that ever became a major superhero ever. Like, think about it.
like in its cast.
Yes,
Okay, give me 3 examples.
Chris Evans,
Okay, I knew that
Brie
one was
Larson?
coming. Yes. Yes.
Yep.
and then Super Saiyan vegan dude became Superman for DC's live action stuff.
Henry Cavill.
No, Henry Cavill.
No.
No, Henry Cavill's little brother.
He's
Not
Atom Man.
Yeah, he's Atom Man, who also is Superman in Smallville.
Oh, okay.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
he was Superman in Smallville before the Scott Pilgrim movie, though.
No,
You sure? I'm pretty sure. That was
I'm pretty
pre-
sure Smallville came out first.
no, not Smallville. Then it's other thing. Hold on.
Are you
'Cause-
talking about the Supergirl?
Yes, in Supergirl. That's what I was thinking.
Uh,
Because like he's the
Wait, so
Superman
he
from
plays
Supergirl.
2 characters in that.
Yes,
That's stupid. I'll be real.
it's a
Okay,
whole thing.
but
Brandon
there's-
Ruth, that's his name.
But you know what's funny is there's literally nothing other than those 3 that you just did.
Hold on, let me look.
If you say that Michael Cera becomes a superhero, then I'm just gonna slap you because
No, there's Mary Elizabeth Walstead is not a superhero. My brain is thinking about somebody else. I'm trying to remember what she played though, because she played
no,
somebody.
but she's great.
I mean, Anna
love her.
Kendrick totally was a thing.
I mean, yeah, Anna Kendrick and who's the other actress that I love that's in it that I can't think of her name right now?
Audrey Plaza.
Aubrey Plaza. Yes, you know me.
Yeah,
You just know.
I know. Audrey Plaza's great. Yeah, no, Mary Elizabeth Winstead did become the Huntress. That's what I thought. She became Huntress.
In
Suicide Squad.
Suicide Squad.
oh,
She became she became a villain.
I mean,
To
it's
be fair.
close. A superhero, supervillain.
no, a superhero
Same
movie
thing.
is
Same thing.
fair, yeah.
Same thing.
Man,
They're
I
more
can't
like
wait.
anti-heroes.
I
but
cannot wait for the
semantics.
new Suicide Squad movie.
It can't be any worse than the last one.
No, here's the thing. So, Tim, A, nothing can be worse than the last one. B, have you seen the cast list for it?
Oh yeah, I have. It looks
Uh,
really interesting.
Let me. They have Sylvester Stallone, Taika Waititi, Joel Kinnaman, Idris Elba, Nathan Fillion,
Yeah, it's
Michael
stacked.
Rooker,
It's
John
stacked.
Cena, like
Pete Davidson.
Peter Capaldi, Pete Davidson, like the cast is slamming. Like and it's directed by James Gunn, and that dude knows how to make movies.
So does Taika Waititi. I'm actually kind of sad that Taika's not producing.
Dude, Taika Waititi is.
Taika Waititi producing Suicide Squad would make a bad Suicide Squad movie, but it would be a great movie.
I don't know if
would
it'd be a
such
bad
good
Suicide
B
Squad
film,
movie.
dude.
I
It'd be
think-
such
I
a good B
think-
film.
I think that the tone of Suicide Squad does not fit Taika Waititi.
Yeah, but he's done stuff like The Mandalorian too, and his episodes of The Mandalorian are also just as good and serious, with the appropriately timed quips.
And I think that's because of oversight from the series runners and not him being able to run free.
I don't know, but I feel like it's a good
Taika
question.
Waititi is amazing. He's one of my favorite directors. He's absolutely hilarious. What We Do in the Shadows is one of the best movies ever made. I don't think that he would make a great Suicide Squad movie. I'm glad that he's in it, and I'm glad that he will definitely be giving input to James Gunn, and I think James Gunn will kill it.
Yes.
But I think
but that's my favorite part about him is that he's really good at like adding supplementary material that keeps within the story, that doesn't take you out, but also gives you those moments of like thought and or fun, like comedy.
That's why I think he's a great backseat driver.
Okay, but can we talk about the fact that Flula Borg is in this and he is Javelin? And God, that makes me so happy.
Yes.
I just want to see how quickly Nathan Fillion dies.
I want to see how quickly John Cena is told that he can't be seen.
He's Peacemaker. He can be seen. It's fine.
Okay. I want there to be that joke in this movie for no reason other than it existing in pop culture.
Joel Kinnaman is playing Rick Flag, and I've never been so excited to look at Man Candy in my entire life.
Okay, let's get back to this episode, finish it up. Last 20 minutes. What's up, guys? Welcome back. Like I said, it's the lo-fi day for me, so you're not getting a hyper Paul. I'm pretty sure the boys like that for the first time ever.
Hey, Tim, you were about to go on a rant.
Yeah, we're about to get the hyper from Tim. Tim, hit me with that rant. Because,
Yeah, okay. So, you know what? We want to talk about the expanding the anime industry. Movies are great ways to get people to latch on to content, right? Like,
yes.
Always.
I would not have ever gone out and gotten attached to certain things without having seen them in a film.
Well, hey, you ready for the easiest, simplest example?
Sure.
Nerd culture has exploded over the last 12 years. Why?
Superhero movies.
Exactly. Marvel full sent on superhero movies, and now you can't walk down the street without someone saying they love Marvel.
Correct.
Or inadvertently yelling at them about DC. But yes.
We'll leave that argument for a whole different podcast to deal with. But that's the problem, is doing a movie like Demon Slayer, where you have to have seen the first 26 episodes to understand the context of it, makes that inaccessible to potentially new fans. A movie like the My Hero ones, well, it may not be canon 100%. Again, it takes place after the first one, I should say, takes place after 2 seasons of, so another 48 episodes. Again,
and again,
inaccessible.
They started off so well that you don't actually have to be invested in the anime to like catch up.
Paul, shut up and let me just take this point to its fruition, and then you can
go.
So, if you make the movies inaccessible, then you can't use them to draw in new people, right? But the problem is if you make them content like, let's say, Your Name, where it's standalone content, you can't expand an IP and make more money and draw more people into other content that you've, the rest of your content, which isn't good either. So you have to find a good balance. And the problem is anime movies right now don't do that. They're either standalone objects or they're a continuation of a current running IP, and they just set the tone in such a weird way that it makes it very hard for people to get into it. Your Name is a really good movie. It's a beautiful film.
It's amazing. It made me cry.
The same thing could be said for Weathering with You, which you don't need to, you get walked through all of the context that you'll ever need to understand that world in the film, which makes it a very good jumping off point for more content. But if you were to start an anime series with a film, and the film does not do well, your anime is dead in the water. The anime industry is in a really weird place with wanting to create content that both brings in new people, maintains those that they have already roped, and to make money. The movies that they're producing right now don't do a good job of any of those things. They don't do a good job bringing new people in because they're so inaccessible 96% of the time.
Mhm.
They do a very bad job of keeping their anime onlys roped in because the films will come out in Japan 6 months ahead, and by the time that the film comes out in the US, the hype has died down for that show significantly.
Absolutely.
The Demon Slayer movie was announced a year ago for
And-
release in Japan, not for release worldwide, for release in Japan. So when we finished the anime series in December of 2019, and then to go to April, May, June of 2021, there is no way that that movie will fill seats the way that it does in Japan, in the US.
Oh, absolutely not.
And for the anime industry, that's going to look at them going like, well, why do we export these films to the US anyways?
We are unfortunately hitting the Western point of the Attack on Titan cycle.
Yep. The problem is because of the way that Western media absorbs content, and I don't say that they're not good with trickle.
Oh no,
they
prefer
want it
binge.
all.
Ever since Netflix started dropping entire seasons at the same time, everybody says it needs to be this way.
Mhm.
And unfortunately, now we're getting split content releases. So we're getting stuff in Japan week to week. And then in the US, they're just waiting until all 13 episodes are out. And then they'll drop them all a month later. So we're getting like Fate Apocrypha, for example, which was one of my biggest pain points because I'm a big Fate fan. We got the first season of Fate Apocrypha during episode 19. And the first season only went up to 13. So they were not only 6 weeks ahead of us, but they were 6 weeks ahead of us after we were 3 months behind.
Yeah.
And that sucks. So that's
the other part is I really hope that if we start people still get hyped over Avengers movies. You know?
Yeah, but the thing is there's a difference in Western culture, I think, for Western culture puts superhero movies on such a high
pedestal.
I wasn't even gonna say pedestal. They're on a shelf. Because
they're worshipped.
They're worshipped along in the pantheon of gods. And I fucking hate that.
I think anime is, with its adaptability, will present itself in that pantheon in Western media as long as it's given time, and then subsequently does what we're starting with Demon Slayer.
My problem with that statement falls on the fact that unless Western culture is willing to backpedal to what it had always been for the very longest of time,
yeah,
which was shows and for me that when I grew up, NCIS, Always Sunny in Philadelphia, you name it, that was
Tori in the House.
Shows that were serialized.
We're talking about shows, not anime. Tim, I'm sorry. That was the third time you were interrupted. Please continue.
It's okay. It was a good bit. I liked it. I was gonna bring up Cory in the House as my favorite anime.
I'm glad we're all on the same page
I'm
here.
sorry.
Kyle
okay.
Massey's my favorite.
There's your social clip. Is ending with that.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, you've been
Kyle
interrupted.
Massey is the best anime protagonist of all time. Changed my mind. But the problem is everyone was so used to that, and then Netflix went and shook it up, and it's not a bad thing. I get why Netflix did what they did. For them, that generates so much attention on them. They made the correct business move, and what was funny is that business move adjusted Western culture so dramatically in such a short period of time.
Yeah, it's
But the rest
wild.
of the world didn't really
Care.
move to that.
Yeah.
And for a lot of like Western, like, and I should say, when I say Western, I mean America in this sense.
Yeah.
Because
Mostly the U.S.
yeah, mostly the U.S., Canada, and Mexico. Like Europe and Southeast Asia and Africa still run on a mostly serialized content setup. It's just the US that has this like they have this gorging problem. It's like the only way to describe the way that Western viewers look at content. They, instead of like being okay with being trickle-fed information, they just dive in head first, and they're like, I have to absorb all of it at this one time, and if I can't, then I'm not happy about it. It's like, why not get 13 weeks where you get fed every week at a very specific time and it's available, as opposed to spending 14 hours just diving into the pool and swimming until you can't stop, and then not being able to move for 8 months. Like, I don't know if it's just that I'm jaded because I'm so accustomed to the way that anime culture and Japanese media works with it, or if it's like I just like, there are shows that I love to binge. Like the last couple days, I have sat down and binged entire seasons of anime because now that they're all of the episodes are out, I can do that.
Hey, you ready for a hot take?
Sure.
There are shows that are better watched week to week.
Yeah, I think
There are
that's very
shows
fair.
that are better if you have time in between them. My favorite example of this is Erased.
Erased is a really good show that, like,
If you
when
watch it week
binged,
to week, it
does
gives
not feel
you
good.
yeah, if you watch it week to week, then you watch the first episode and you're like, okay, now I'm figuring this out. I'm getting the concept of it. Then you watch episode 2, it gives you more information and it trickles you in. And it's a mystery show. So the more that, like, each week you watch it, it gives you a little more information and you're able to build together your own theories. And watching it week to week as it was airing, I was talking to my friends about it and we were able to build up theories about what was going on and what was happening. Were we right in the end? Yes. But if you binge it, then by episode 6, you're like, oh, X.
Yeah, you know exactly where it's going, and it's just not as
It doesn't have that impact because you don't let the information soak. And that's not to say that Erased is a bad series. It's amazing. It's really good. Like, that show tugs at my heartstrings.
I think there's also something to be said about just generalized dramas. I think you can binge shonen in general.
Yeah. No,
but like,
shonen, I will tell you right now, you want to watch Dragon Ball? Binge that shit. Don't watch it week to week, because holy crap. The Tournament of Power took over a year to happen. You can find the entire thing in real time on YouTube. It takes 40 minutes. And you get the exact amount of content, you get the exact same information, and it's just as enjoyable.
Yep.
Like, and that sounds really shitty to say that. It's like, it sounds like all of this hard work went down the drain, but it's like, shonens are inherently that way. They drag it out.
I would say that most slice of life you can enjoy week to week too.
Yeah, I watched all of Science Fell in Love, so I tried to prove it again, and I watched it with the boys, and we binged the whole thing. We sat down and watched all 12 episodes, and let me tell you, it was fantastic. And I haven't seen any of the houseboys cry like watching a show in a long time. And they got to that point.
Yep.
And then the next episode, there was no time to process like what went on.
Yep.
Yeah.
We paused for 35 minutes, and that still was not enough time for them to like process everything.
Yep.
And I was like, I remember watching that week to week, going like, watching that scene.
Rascal is not Dream of Bunny Girl Senpai.
Holy shit! Yeah, like there are shows that like, even when I'm rewatching
Fruit
them, I
Basket.
try and pace myself because you can't do it.
Some like I've been bitchy so much about give me my week to week drip content Japan, don't make me binge it 3 months later. Because yeah, some shows really you want to sit down and watch it, and then you want to like sit there and just let everything settle. Like,
And I think
like
it's something
shows with The Mandalorian.
I think there's something also about like being current with a thing that makes you feel good.
Well, it's also like the best example we have right now is The Mandalorian. So a lot of people I know are watching it week to week, and we're all able to have these conversations together. Paul and I and Zod watched it at 3 a.m, and we stayed up for an hour afterwards talking about theories and what could happen and where it's going.
To put perspective on this, I literally in the middle of the episode jumped out of my seat screaming at 3:30 in the morning, did a little circle dance in my room, and then he came back down to the couch and apologized to Nate.
Circle dance is putting it nicely. He sprinted across all 20 feet of the apartment, and then sprinted back, like jumping up and down and shaking. And then he sat down violently and then said, "I'm sorry, I needed to get that out of my system."
And that's part of the week to week experience. Is like in a week to week show, they can drop something so huge and then be like, striptease. And you're just like, shit.
Yeah, actually, you know what? There's a show that's going on this season that I think exemplifies that kind of content. Jujutsu Kaisen.
Yeah.
That show, and now mind you, I know what's going on, has me clawing at Crunchy every single day. Like, why can't it be Friday? Why can't it be Friday? Why can't it be Friday?
So
I want more.
I caught up on Jujutsu today. I had 2 episodes that I needed to watch. I watched the first one, then I took a break and watched different shows, and then I watched the second one.
Yeah, and
It's heavy.
It feels so good.
It's also heavy.
it
Like it's
does.
one of the heavier shows in the entire lineup.
Absolutely.
So
It's so good week to week. Like it's all of the content. Like that is premier drip feed.
And speaking of week to week, we'll talk more about Jujutsu Kaisen next week.
yes,
True. Next week's gonna be an
next week's gonna be an episode.
interesting week to talk about JJK.
I'm very sure.
Tony Kai was real cute this week. You want to watch that? Catch up on that. If you're watching
My
Haikyuu
heart's
like
on
me,
fire, just like their apartment building.
oh my god. If you're watching Haikyuu like me, you're enjoying some peak volleyball anime right now. If you're watching, hit me with some. Onyx Equinox came out. We'll talk about that
Actually,
next
you know
week
what?
too.
No, we can talk about that a little bit this week.
We're pushing an hour. We're pushing.
I'm not looking at the timer.
We're pushing an
I'm
hour
simply
30.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
then let me give 2 minutes of Onyx Equinox.
Go for it. I've watched the first episode.
Same. Okay. Onyx Equinox. My biggest problem with it is when I went on to Crunchy to watch it, it defaulted to the German dub. That was really annoying to me.
That was really weird.
I didn't have that problem, so I don't know.
My German is enough to pass a fluency exam for like an 8th grader at this point. I once passed what would effectively be the N1 for Japanese for German. I was fluent enough that I could pass. I could take an entire class in German and converse fluently and not have a problem. My German is so bad now, and I got in and I was like, "What did I?" It was the audio was in German, the subtitles were in German, and I was like, "How the fuck did we get here?" And then I looked at
all
it. And I was like,
I'll say is what if I don't know if this is a problem for the German. I mentioned this to Nate.
I was really sad there was no Japanese dub.
So there's that.
I understand that.
B, their voice acting mixing is real weird.
Yeah, I don't know how I felt about the English dub.
It feels weird. It feels like there's not enough reverb. There's not
I'll tell you what,
distance spacing.
The first 12 minutes had me looking at it like, but then at the end of the episode, I'm kind of interested.
Yeah, but like, and again, my problem was not with the content. My problem was my ears were like,
mixing.
There's technical issues with the show that I have more than with the content of
Yep.
the show.
exactly.
Absolutely.
But we'll talk more about that next week with a full discussion of that, Jujutsu Kaisen, all that.
Yeah, we'll have 2 episodes under our belt for OE, and we can go talk about that.
Like I
Well,
said, if
3
you guys,
episodes.
3 actually.
Oh, that's true. We did have an
Yep.
episode.
Yeah, we're getting our third episode on Tuesday, I think.
So if you want to watch that, catch up with us and dive into an Aztec world, let's go. Otherwise, guys, you can catch us doing all the normal things, just like I can't believe it's a light novel title.
Yep, I knew
Section.
it. You bitch.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. This week we have a brand new hot light novel. All right, are you ready?
Oh, I'm so ready.
A heroic and mighty adventurer dreams of opening a pharmacy. Red was once a member of the Heroes Party, a powerful group destined to save the world from the evil forces of Terexon, the raging demon lord. That is, until one of his comrades kicked him out. Hoping to live the easy life on the frontier, Red's new goal is to open an apothecary. However, keeping the secret of his former life may not be as simple as he thinks, especially when the beautiful Rit, an adventurer from his past, shows up and asks to move in with him. Banished from the Heroes Party, I decided to live a quiet life on the countryside.
I love it. I
All
might
these-
go find it on Bookwalker right
All
now.
these light novels do is make me want to read them. I'll be honest with you. Like, that's the biggest problem
Yeah.
with me reading this. I have so many just like saved. I'm like, I actually kind of want to read that one.
So, if it makes you feel better, if you want to do it, you can shop on my Bookwalker account. I'll just send it to you. I think I have $46 of free books.
Oh, good lord.
Don't do it.
And
Guys.
their Black Friday sale goes until December 1st. So,
Oh, same with that time for you to finish the Deepstone Crypt raid and get your jacket code.
which actually, you know what? That's a good way for me to intro into my my Twitch channel. I'm Tim. You guys can find me at twitch.tv/SyndixAtrix, SYNDAXATRIX. And if you have not done your Deepstone Crypt raids, I will be running them. Oh god. Oh no. This will be out.
Yep,
way too late.
This is gonna be out on the 2nd.
This is sad. Well, if you can't get your raid jacket, but you still want to run the raid after the cutoff date, I will be more than happy to carry you. One of our previous guests, Sutledge, and I will be running raid carries all season. And you can also find me on Twitter, twitter.com/SyndixAtrix, SYNDAXATRIX. And you can find me running the Studio Blank Twitter most of the time at Studio Blank Pod.
Now that he has
Nate,
time.
where do they find you?
You can find me on Twitter at Comfamous, Instagram at Comfamous, and Twitch, twitch.tv/Comfamous, where I will be live weeknights after 7 p.m. EST doing whatever I can get my hands on game-wise. We just set up the VR stuff again, so that could get weird. Also very fun. And you know who else is going to be playing VR for the first time? Hey, Paul.
No. Guys, you can find me at twitter.com/I_love_Mondays, MUNDAYS. On Twitch at I Love Mondays, no underscores. And then doing all the rare drop things at twitch.tv/raredrop or twitter.com/raredropco. Have a fantastic evening and enjoy all the anime that you're watching this week. Hope to see you next time. Have a good one.
Bye.
Bye.
That's a good hour 30-minute episode.
That's pushing us at like an hour 40.
No, it's
No,
not.
it's
There's
not.
a lot of content to trim.
That's true.
We have 10 minutes at the beginning to cut. We have 5 minutes in the middle to cut. And we have an
And
ad
whatever
break.
the ad break was.
That's true.
Is going to be a
It's-
solid hour 30.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Guys, thanks for
there's a-
watching. Cherry. See you later.